and welcome to the Anderson News Network's A Year in Review. My name is Emily Auld. Thank you for joining us. Today is January 1st, 1858. Happy New Year! All of us here at Anderson News Network hope you all have a prosperous and healthy year. Join us as we look back on the past 3 years of history. We will be reviewing the ongoing controversy surrounding Bloody Kansas Territory and its application for statehood. We will also have the opportunity to speak with Massachusetts Senator Charles Sumner regarding his recent incident with Congressman Preston Brooks of South Carolina. Later on, we will revisit the details of the 1856 presidential election and examine the candidates' opposing platforms. But now, let's visit the historic site when the disputed Dred Scott versus Sandford decision was made just 9 months ago. We have field reporter Chelsea Yeagle on the site. Chelsea?
Thanks, Emily. I'm here in Washington, D.C. at the Supreme Court building where on March 6, 1856, the American judicial system ruled against slave Dred Scott, denying him and his family freedom from their master. Scott had previously been brought by his owner, John Emerson, to Illinois and Fort Snelling, both which lie north of the Missouri Compromise line of 1820, prompting to sue for his freedom because he was within free territories. It was previously determined that slavery had been prohibited above that line. With me, I have Chief Justice Roger Taney of South Carolina to share with us his reasoning behind this controversial decision. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
What were you thinking in that courtroom? What was your mindset going into this trial?
Mr. Dred Scott could not sue. He has no rights we have to respect. The federal courts lack jurisdiction because this man is not a citizen under the Constitution. So, from its origin, this case has no legal standing.
Your Honor, doesn't the agreed-upon Missouri Compromise line establish that Mr. Scott could not indeed be enslaved above a certain latitude? Is it not illegal to own slaves in that area?
Well, we have determined that the compromise is unconstitutional, and Congress cannot bar slavery in any federal territories. Furthermore, our own Fifth Amendment guarantees Mr. Scott's master that he will not be deprived of his property without due process, and Mr. Scott is indeed his property.
So, what happens now?
The court will uphold this decision to nullify the Missouri Compromise, and slaves will not be able to file legal suits. Controversy has arisen, but we found that this ruling is well aligned with the American Constitution. As for Dred Scott, he will return to his master's estate.
Thank you for your time. Back to you, Emily.
Thank you, Chelsea. Another important event that we are going to review is the ongoing crisis of Bleeding Kansas.
As we all know, the continuing Bleeding Kansas crisis has plagued our nation for several years now. The heart of Bleeding Kansas issue parallels a much larger problem confronting our nation today. Conflict between the very essence of northern and southern lifestyles threaten the unity of this country, and talks of secession loom. And now, to speak on the issue is Senator Charles Sumner of Massachusetts.
Hello, my name is Charles Sumner. I am a senator from Massachusetts, and I am here today to give my take on the Bleeding Kansas issue. The conflict originated in the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, which stipulates that the people of Kansas must decide via popular sovereignty whether they will enter the Union as a free state or a slave-holding state. Hostility ensued as pro-slavery border ruffians from Missouri and northern abolitionists came to Kansas with conflicting views for the territory's future. On March 30th, 1855, Kansas Territory held the election for its first territorial legislature. President Pierce showed his support for the pro-slavery advocates by disbanding the Topeka legislature, which was a body of elected abolitionists tasked with drafting a state constitution. As the conflict drew on, many acts of violence broke out, including Missourian attacks on anti-slavery forces and abolitionist retaliation. The Federal Army was slow to react, and the bloodshed continues presently. This whole Bloody Kansas incident is a disgrace to the American people. The ideals upon which this country was founded are liberty, independence, and yet our government allows these savages in the South to hold these men as their slaves. The very nature of the institution of slavery continuously corrupts this entire nation and everyone in it. Until we abolish slavery completely from this entire nation, we cannot be truly free. We have a wonderful opportunity here to introduce Kansas as a free state, and therefore to further our goal of eventually abolishing slavery as a whole from this land. If we introduce Kansas as a slave-holding state, the balance of power will be completely shifted, and the people in the South who want to perpetuate slavery will have the upper hand. We cannot allow this to happen. I delivered a speech on this topic to Congress called Crime Against Kansas in 1856. I received a lot of controversy for my words, but I stand by my belief that—
All right, listen. Hello, everyone. My name is Preston Brooks, and I'm a congressman from South Carolina. I would just like to say that this man has it all wrong. Slavery is a way of life in the South. Our economy thrives upon it.
Listen here, buddy. The fact that you can perpetuate the idea of slavery shows what a brute savage you are, and so does this. He beat me over the head with his cane.
Listen!
Okay then, well, thank you, Mr. Sumner, and apparently Mr. Brooks. Back to our next topic, which is the presidential election of 1856. This was a very significant year in American politics, with continuing issues such as the Kansas-Nebraska Act and slavery on the forefront of voters' minds. Today, we will briefly discuss the platforms of the candidates of the election. The Know Nothing Party, with Representative Millard Fillmore, focused on their hatred of immigration and discrimination against Catholics. Also known as the American Party, they claim to be most essentially a national party, free from sectionalist ties. The Republicans, who opposed the Kansas-Nebraska Act and the institution of slavery, nominated John C. Fremont. The winner of the election, President James Buchanan of the Democratic Party, supported popular sovereignty for the admittance of new territories and pro-slavery legislature.
I'm Emily Auld, signing off from Anderson News Network. I'm so glad we took this time to go over the events of the past 3 years, and I'm sure that our country can put aside our differences and come together as one. I can't wait to see that happen in the future.
You should be wearing the Claims the Way button.
Been brought by his owner, John Emerson, to Illinois and Floyd Snow.
Fight! Fight! Fight!
A little legal standing. I'll do it.
Could you maybe pick a better time to compliment her sons than normal?
Their wife sucks! Time to go over the past.
Mom!